Hello, this is Randy White, and today I want to walk through Psalm 61 to give you, as we walk through the Psalms, a prophetic look at the Psalms. Psalm 61 begins in verses 1 through 4, and talks about a representative coming in. A representative coming in and crying out to be heard. I think this is a representative of the people of God. You notice in the heading for Psalm 61, it says, for the choir director on a stringed instrument. This is unique in the Psalms because typically it says on stringed instruments, plural, but here it is singular. One representative comes and pleads for the nation. Here's what the representative says in verse 1. Hear my cry, O God, give heed to my prayer. From the end of the earth I call to you when my heart is faint. Lead me to a rock that is higher than I. Won't it be a blessing when actually that prayer is prayed by the Jewish people? But here's the representative coming. In verse 3 it says, for you have been a refuge for me, a tower of strength for the enemy. Go through the history of Israel and you'll see that is exactly right. And here the representative voices that correctly. Verse 4 then is the prayer of this representative. It is a prayer that is made on behalf of the people. It is the prayer or the vow that all of the nations should have made. Here the representative comes and gives the prayer and makes the vow. The prayer is this: let me dwell in your tent forever. Olamine, on and on, through the ages. Let me dwell in your tent forever. Let me take refuge in the shelter of your wings. Now, it is a prayer. In the King James, it's stated more as a vow, which probably is accurate according to the Hebrew, which says, I will dwell in your tent forever. I will take refuge in the shelter of your wings. That is the prayer of the representative. Now in verses 5, 6, and 7, we have the answer of the representative, and here's what he says. For you have heard my vows. That is, this vow I made, I'll dwell in your tents forever. I will take refuge in the shelter of your wings. God, you have heard my vows. O God, you have given me the inheritance of those who fear your name. You see, the answer, the prayer, the answer, the vow has been responded to. Now the people have the inheritance. And it goes on in verse 6 then to say, you will prolong the king's life. His years will be as many generations. He will abide before God forever. Appoint loving kindness and truth that they may preserve him. Now we have to ask a question here. Who is the king? You will prolong the king's life. Is this King David? Is it King Solomon? Who is the king? You will prolong the king's life. Isaiah chapter 53 verse 10 gives us a little bit of insight here when it speaks about how, and the suffering servant, how his days will be prolonged. That is, the one whose days were cut short will be prolonged. His years will be as many generations, verse 6 says. That is, his years will be, literally it says, from generation unto generation. Generations and generations will be his years. He will abide before God forever. Now, could that be just any king? Could it even be King David? Could it be King Solomon? No, it's got to be a particular king. That is, here we're talking about the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. We're talking about the coming Messiah. His days will be prolonged. His years will be generations and generations. He will abide before God forever. Verse 8 then comes in the final conclusion of this psalm, and it says, so I will sing praises to your name forever, that I may pay my vows day by day. Here the representative comes and celebrates here in this 8th verse. That's the verse of resurrection. I am coming. I am going to sing praises. This is a prophetic psalm. It's a psalm in which I think is spoken from the heart of the Messiah himself. As the Messiah comes and says, I'm going to pray that which My people have not prayed. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. He prays this prayer. It is answered, and he becomes the king of his people, and he is given the throne of his father David. Psalm 61. Christ comes as the representative head of his people. I hope this psalm has been a blessing to you today.